Hi, everyone, and welcome to Microsoft Ignite. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is David Sloan. I'm the Chief Technology Officer for Worldwide Public Sector, focused on global market development here at Microsoft. And it's my pleasure and privilege to speak with you today about Azure hybrid cloud use cases for government. Now, hybrid is an overloaded term in the industry that can refer to a wide variety of products and solutions. But that's okay, because instead of focusing on specific products or solutions, what we should really be concentrating on is the use cases that those products and solutions enable. Starting with the use case is the core of any successful hybrid adoption. Hybrid solutions enable many use cases that are of interest to government. We're not going to go through all of them in this presentation, but through interactions with our field and many of our customer stakeholders, we've prioritized what we believe are the 6 most common government hybrid use cases, which are the most relevant and the most in demand. We map those use cases to supporting technology offerings, solution architectures, and we try to characterize those offerings in a lot of different ways that would be helpful to you as customers. Shortcuts, unfortunately, don't work. Starting a hybrid adoption with a product is unlikely to be successful in the long term, especially in public sector. And that's why we really want to work on this motion of use case, then solution, then architecture. One other note, this effort doesn't explicitly focus on classified defense and intelligence use cases whose need for air-gapped systems often reduces the solution space to a very small slice of the portfolio. So let's start right in with our first priority use case, which is data center modernization. This is one of the key use cases which allow government agencies to modernize their legacy systems and hardware-centric architectures that are designed for peak capacity while reducing administrative and operational costs and adopting technological innovations. Data center modernization brings cloud methodologies and practices such as software-defined data center technologies, self-service, and highly scalable and elastic solutions based on virtualization into your existing data centers. In data center modernization, we've addressed specific government use cases where agencies, for example, wish to leverage current infrastructure to host sensitive data while being able to burst capacity to the public cloud when needed to keep costs optimized, or to utilize the scalability and flexibility of the cloud to host front-end systems while protecting regulated data in the on-premise data center, or to maintain control over employees' access to applications with a single user identity across on-premise and cloud environments. And ultimately, we want to break down operational silos and adopt agile DevOps methodologies to drive outcomes such as flexibility, efficiency, and consistency by migrating IT solutions and services to cloud architectures and strengthen their IT security posture by adopting cloud-based security solutions. Essentially, this is saying that some of the cloud benefits that you typically only get from public cloud, you can bring into your data centers as you're refreshing them and modernizing them. An additional priority use case is unpredictable workloads. And if recent events in the world have taught us anything, it's that this is a use case that we cannot afford to ignore. So this is workloads that have unpredictable or unforeseen utilization that can take advantage of the elasticity and the scalability that cloud architectures offer. Cloud technologies scale up as workloads grow, scaling down as demand falls. This allows organizations to lower operating costs instead of having to design for that peak highest capacity or even unforeseen capacity. These workloads are a great fit for public-facing and seasonal workloads or applications that are characterized by fluctuating traffic patterns. COVID-19, the global pandemic, has definitely highlighted the requirements to support unpredictable workloads and for elastic capacity as employees and citizens alternate from working from home and at the workplace, creating new requirements for services and applications. Under the category of unpredictable workloads, we've addressed specific government use cases where customers want to run mission-critical workloads or sensitive applications in their private data centers while utilizing the public cloud for high-volume workloads that must scale or be on demand. You can bring the innovation, scalability, and on-demand model of public cloud to your data center with workloads like batch or transactional analytics, high-performance workloads, things like that. And you can also provide varying capacity for seasonal workloads such as tax returns, emergency response, school enrollment, program rollout, anything that requires varying and burstable capacity. You can basically imagine your data center flexing to accommodate these greater workloads by calling out to the cloud as necessary and then collapsing back into your private data center as needed. Another critical topic is business continuity and disaster recovery. So there are workloads that can't move to the cloud, but customers may still be able to take advantage of public cloud's comprehensive set of solutions for supporting these backups and disaster recovery. And imagine that in a classical scenario, you need to buy an entire replica of your system and keep it stood up almost at all times to be able to use in case of a failure of your primary system. This is not to mention the enormous amount of data that is accumulated over time, taking up even more room in data centers. The ability to use the cloud as the extension for these infrequently used but absolutely critical aspects is what this priority use case is all about. So cloud technologies can optimize not only the costs involved with disaster recovery, but also the speed and agility in which disaster recovery can be completed, and take advantage of modern techniques based on immutable and declarative architectures that redeploy infrastructure along with application state and data. So government customers might be interested in this if they wish to replicate data, architectures, and systems across geographical regions to provide business continuity in the event of a disaster or unforeseen event that affects an entire region. Or a customer who's looking for a resilient platform for their applications, not just the infrastructure, and want to provide disaster recovery and business continuity for that application. Government customers may want to use the public cloud for certain tiers like cold or archival tiers, or certain classifications like non-sensitive or unclassified storage, while keeping others like hot and sensitive data in their on-premises data centers. And customers may want to use the public cloud for data archival purposes on things like video or research data. Closed-circuit TV data is a significant workload here. All in all, we can modernize your disaster recovery and business continuity scenarios through automation and the ability to redeploy applications rather than having to architect for active-active topologies all the time. Moving to the next priority workload, let's talk a little bit about unified operations, specifically focused on security and governance. So governments around the world are struggling with a proliferation of security accreditations that they have to comply with. Many of them require greater awareness and control over their infrastructure, right at the same time when their infrastructure is becoming more complex and varied with these hybrid or even multi-cloud approaches. So customers may have requirements that prevent workloads from being fully moved to the cloud, but still want to take advantage of these advances in security that are present in cloud solutions. So in both cases, customers may want to utilize the scale of threat intelligence analytics that cloud solutions are able to offer, with the ability to integrate machine learning risk models, predictions, and aggregations at a scale that are just not possible for an on-prem solution alone. Customers may want to deploy cohesive enterprise governance, security and risk mitigation tools, and frameworks that span on-prem and cloud environments. And they may want to provide a holistic view of their security posture and the risks that their enterprises are exposed to across private, hybrid, and multi-cloud environments. At the same time, customers wish to enable their security operations center, their SOCs, with a common set of tools that can process the millions of security and operational events organizations are exposed to every day, and to correlate the surface across their security incidents based on reliable certainty algorithms that incorporate the latest security intelligence. Another priority use case is application innovation. We know that governments around the world are going through a process of digital transformation. But in order to remain relevant and engaged with their citizens and deliver meaningful digital experiences, organizations want to incorporate advances in innovation, such as artificial intelligence and IoT and personalization, into their government-delivered applications. At the same time, hosting these advanced services in private data centers is unrealistic, and organizations want to shorten development times, accelerate release cycles, and incorporate these as well as mobile and cross-platform experiences that are consumable outside the traditional perimeter of the organization, the LAN or the data center, and make those applications available regionally, nationally, even globally, with built-in resiliency and scalability. Government agencies may want to bring these innovative technologies from the public cloud to their data centers and have secure connections that allow them to reach out and utilize those new innovative services to modernize legacy applications with features like putting the web front end in the cloud, but keeping the data on premises, or creating microservice architectures or container-based architectures and API management that they can use to go between the two, to leverage IoT platforms that are hosted in the cloud, and to use applications that incorporate these innovative features, but still in a secure way that allow data center applications to reside in their traditional confines. Finally, the last priority use case has to do with moving development and test to the cloud. Lots of government agencies would like to take their first steps towards adopting cloud services, but are nervous about moving production data to the cloud due to sensitivities of one sort or another, but are also reluctant to spend the money that's necessary to duplicate an environment of their production environment in which to do test, and then another one to do development. And there's always the compromise that you have to make. Do I have to have my dev and test exactly reflect my production environment? What are the costs of upkeep? And what is the loss of agility in upgrading that environment? So the ability to replicate your production environment into the cloud, spin up as many dev and test instances as you like, not put the production data into those dev and test instances, but be able to spin them down or update them as frequently as your production environment is updated, is a really transformative capability that leverages this hybrid environment. So it's a great way to position yourself for starting a cloud adoption journey or to deliver all the benefits of cloud: speed, agility, flexibility, and cost management without having to engage in necessarily all the contentious issues of moving production data into the public cloud. So thank you so much for spending some time with us today to talk about hybrid use cases for government. I hope that focusing on the use cases will create a more seamless experience where identifying one of these use cases as a customer and then bringing that use case to your cloud solution architect will allow them to design the cloud solution architecture as well as the product portfolio that best meets your needs. Thank you for spending some time with us today. Happy hybrid, and enjoy the rest of Ignite.